playoff, according to the All-Star Playoff Predictor. Georgia and Ohio State are currently over 90%, with Michigan and TCU in the 3 and 4 spots. Even with Alabama having 2 losses, they have nearly the same chance as 1-loss USC. Here he is, the mouth of the South, my guy, Paul Finebaum. Hi, Paul.
Hey, guys.
Paul, tell me this. Who do you currently have in your top 4, sir?
It's the same as we've had for a couple of weeks. It starts with Georgia, then Ohio State, Michigan, and TCU, Molly. Obviously, we're going to see some change this week because Michigan is playing at Ohio State. And did I see Alabama on that list? I'm sure Stephen A. Keyshawn has come up with a way for Alabama to get into the playoffs.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, that's low.
Yeah, well, they got
that's
a long
very,
ways
very,
to go.
That's very low. I'm going to say this to you. The 4 is the 4. Michigan will probably lose to Ohio State. Even if that didn't happen, I got some questions about TCU because of their schedule. I could see USC getting up in there. I could see USC getting up in there. And I got to tell you, if that would have happened, that would be very exciting for college football. That's what I'm looking at it. What's the possibilities, Paul, of you seeing USC getting up in there?
Very good, because for those who don't follow this, USC has Notre Dame at home on Saturday night, and then they go to the conference championship game, presumably against Oregon. And Keyshawn and Molly and Stephen A., I think they're going to get past all that. And frankly, if they do, I think they deserve a ticket in. And what it really is going to come down to, assuming that TCU continues to win in the Big 12, they have Iowa State in the Big 12 championship game that none of us are going to be watching very closely, then I think it comes down between Southern Cal and the loser of Michigan and Ohio State. And quite frankly, I would go for Southern Cal right now.
Paul, why is it that I feel like TCU is this year's Cincinnati without the Cinderella story behind it?
Yeah, good point.
Keyshawn, because they are. And listen, I thought they would go down last week, and they won on a last-second field goal against Baylor, which I think has lost 3 or 4 games. I mean, they're a good team, but I don't want to sound like an elitist here, and I'm sure I will, but I don't think they could cut it against the big boys of college football right now. I mean, they've beaten a lot of good teams, but nobody great. And winning at Texas is no big deal right now. Texas has lost 4 games. Baylor lost 4 games. So they're not going to play another good team. And I think if they end up in the semifinals against Georgia, presumably, they're going to lose by 3 or 4 touchdowns. Last year, Cincinnati played Alabama. They couldn't hang with them, and I don't think TCU can hang with any of the top teams right now.
Isn't one of the criteria, though, to win your championship, your conference? And so how could Michigan get in if they lose Ohio State, or Ohio State, for that matter, get in if they lose to Michigan, if, in fact, one of the criteria is to win your conference? And if USC wins the Pac-12, how could they even be, Michigan or Ohio State, whichever one, be in a battle with them to get in? Because if my memory serves me right, Paul, the only team that has gotten in this era was Alabama several years ago when they didn't win the SEC, but it's Alabama.
That was 2017, and you're absolutely right. Here's how I think USC will trump the loser of the game Saturday. And it's not necessarily the conference championship. That does matter, Keyshawn. The committee always values that. It's like it breaks a tie. But interestingly, Notre Dame is going to help everyone right now. Notre Dame beat Clemson a couple of weeks ago, and give Marcus Freeman credit after that loss to Ohio State early on. They have come on really well. They lost to Marshall, Stephen A. We talked about that last week. But right now, though, they are a pretty good team, and it's going to count as a very good win. So I think that is going to be the deciding factor. And on top of that, USC is a very hot team. They've lost 1 game by 2 points at Utah, which is an extremely difficult place to play. They have perhaps the most exciting player in the country in Caleb Williams. Remember, he transferred over from Oklahoma. And I think they're sitting pretty right now.
Are we doing a disservice to LSU? They've got 2 losses on the season, but they've been playing good football over the last several weeks or so, at least had some big wins. I can't even express to you how disappointed I am in Tennessee. I was sold on Hooker and Hyatt and these brothers, and I mean, the way they looked against Georgia and then to get smacked around and beat down by South Carolina the way that they did, Tennessee was a huge disappointment to me. But what about LSU? Are we giving them the love they deserve?
Well, I think we are, but here's the problem for LSU. They have Texas A&M Saturday night. That's a 7-loss team. Yes, you heard me correctly. Jimbo Fisher has a 7-loss team.
Wow.
But then LSU goes to Atlanta, Stephen A., and they take on Georgia. I don't think they get out of there. And the problem then is, even though they have a tremendous resume, they beat Alabama. We know that. They are going to have 3 losses, and I don't think they have any way back in. So they have to win. If LSU pulls the upset, then we have a little bit of chaos, which we probably won't have otherwise. But LSU better win against Georgia, otherwise they're done.
One last quick question. What the hell has happened, real quick, what the hell has happened to Texas A&M? How the hell does Jimbo Fisher have 7 losses on the season? What the hell is that about?
Well, it's a great question, and I think his arrogance has gotten in the way of his coaching. He will not change his coaching philosophy, Stephen A. This is a guy that has an $86 million buyout. Texas A&M can't get rid of him even if they wanted to, and there's some speculation that the fans would like to see a change. So they're stuck with him for now, but if he doesn't change his offensive philosophy, his career at A&M is going to go down in flames.
All right, got to leave it there. Paul, thank you so much. And Keyshawn, Caleb Williams is pretty good. You should try watching some USC games. Tonight we'll have the exclusive reveal of the next college football playoff top 25 rankings. Reese and the guys break them down from top to bottom, have coaches' reactions, as well as a live interview with committee chairman Boo Corrigan, the NC State AD, 7 Eastern.
Decided to hand it off to Tony Pollard and Zeke and get them guys the ball in advantageous situations. Who are you going to be, Kellen Moore? Because I think the fate of the Dallas Cowboys lies in your play call sheet. That's the hard, honest truth for me going forward.
Right. One man's getting cute, there's another man's getting pass happy, and that's what you don't want them to be. Final vote, Graziano.
I still vote the Eagles. Look at the lead, right? They're up 2 games on Dallas in the division. They beat them head-to-head. They just added 2 stud veteran defensive tackles last week. Yeah. I mean, they're getting better. They'll get Dallas Goedert back in a few weeks. I think they have the edge. They have one more game, though. That Dallas-Philly game later in the season, hugely consequential game.
It's Christmas Eve,
if
and
Dallas
the Cowboys
get OBJ,
have 4.
I'm changing.
OBJ and the Cowboys have 4 very winnable games between now and Christmas Eve when the Eagles have to come into Arlington. We will see. Okay, you know what they might need in that game? They might need a little extra security. Let's roll it.
Let's do it. I know some people in this league need security. Everybody ain't getting dumped around here. This long arm of the law. He needs a new security guard. They better find somebody quick. Athleticism is a trait of being a security guard. And when you don't have none, you get your quarterback killed by a little guy. Like when the big dude run up on one of the little dudes and then you find out he a damn MMA fighter and you get beat to sleep. You need new security.
Oh, yes, it is time for Swagoo's revenge as you've got the quarterbacks who desperately need new security. Take it, big fella.
Let's get it popping, man. First and foremost, G, you know where the hell I'm going. I'm going to that star on the side of your helmet and my man Micah Parsons. The early in this game, I don't know what Kevin O'Connell was thinking for the majority of the game. But Kirk Cousins, you needed new security. And you knew damn well 11 was going to come out there with his hair on fire trying to kill everything moving. That's what Micah Parsons did. Kirk Cousins, you needed new security, and your offensive lineman and your head coach didn't believe you did. Oh, well, moving on to next week. 40-3. Let's get it. Next, I'm going to Derwin James. Y'all, did y'all see this? This is actually a safety, okay, going in on a blitz against a linebacker. And son, I baptize you in the name of the Lord so I can get to the quarterback. You need new security. I don't know who, but my man Pacheco is tough. He runs physical, but this right here probably ain't what you need to do with him, Andy Reid, when you're playing Derwin James. Pat Mahomes, I never thought I'd say this because you are so good at football. But against number 3, you need new security. Derwin James, good job, man. Baptism will be at next Sunday service. Carl Lawson from the New York Jets. I know Zach Wilson said he didn't feel like he had any responsibility, but you had responsibility for Mac Jones needing new security, I lay you down to your family softly on a pillow to go get your quarterback, sir. Bill Belichick was even on the sideline saying, damn, Mac needs new security. This is what you do when you're trying to get a win, holding the team to 3 points, and you made sure Mac Jones needed new security. And y'all, speaking of security, I got a bonus this week because apparently at this stadium, you don't need new security because security is doing their damn job. They are knocking people